Sure. How was it? Yeah, here.
Well, the first speaker basically was just giving a speech without like PowerPoint presentation, so you really had to listen very carefully.
What was he doing?
He was giving a speech. He was just talking.
You can different ways. I'm giving a speech now if you want. I'm talking to you. What did he do?
Well, he was presenting a topic to us.
Any other observation to add on? Yeah, just give the mic to the front.
Shh. He was just reading out loud a text he prepared before.
Okay, so he was reading a text. So there was a pre-written English language text, and Carsten Brosta was reading out that text. Okay, what was the second person doing? Say something, come, you have the mic. Your neighbor? Oh. What was the second person doing? Come, take it, come. No, one of you, come. What was the second person? Yeah.
I think it was.
Shh. Yeah.
It was really helpful that he included pictures in his PowerPoint presentation, so you could really understand the situation in his country.
Yeah. So the second speaker was Bojan from Bulgaria, and what was he doing? He was having a PowerPoint, and what did he do?
I think he also addressed to us that maybe we think about being a part of the team helping in a poor country.
Okay. Did you get the impression that this is actually probably the most powerful not-for-profit on earth? Did you get that impression? Did you get from his style of presentation and from the way he did you get the impression that he is representing one of the most powerful institutions that we currently have? Probably not. Yeah? Now, this is obviously not an accident. So we had a politician, an administration member, who was very carefully choosing each and every word, consciously about not deviating one word from his text. And when I had asked him to please shorten, he would still stick 100% to the pre-agreed, pre-approved text. Wouldn't even make a cut, knowing that he is running 8 minutes over time. So, then there was a second gentleman who comes from a civic society organization that indeed has had tremendous input in Europe, has been tremendously impactful. They are behind probably the only institution that made Roma in Bulgaria a real issue and run successful programs in integrating that. The one sentence that's on it is, the Roma program is still running and it's not yet working completely. So there is a different approach. What did the third person do? Somebody wants to say something? Isn't that interesting? Between the lines? Yeah?
I remember that when he was running out of time, he just cut the topic. He was just like, okay, I told you everything. That's fine.
So what did he do and how did he interact with you?
He was always explaining his points on the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
He was speaking very freely, and fluently.
So he was very much telling his personal story and his personal belief, and he was making the point that actually what he does is his personal passion and the thing he came up for here to speak to, he believes in. While Bojan was very much stepping back and saying it's actually society doing it, we are just carefully enabling. And the politician was really trying to ensure that he wouldn't say one word that isn't agreed upon, so to actually, under any circumstance, prevent conflict. So it's interesting to ask yourself, when you have speakers, where do they come from? Why do they present the way they present? And what do they actually say is often a reflection, a double-sided reflection of that. So let's get into quickly analyzing what has been said and what has been done. Is there any team that would like to volunteer briefly presenting? Wow, 2, 3 teams. Cool. So now we start at 4 o'clock. Come on. So, who are you?
Would you like to have the microphone back?
Where are the mics? Microphones? So, one of you please goes to the, makes a clicking. And there's the second mic here. Yeah, good. So, you are team number? Okay, HS14. So what I propose we do, we have that triangle, and I would propose that 3 different people actually present each corner. Yeah, and then the rest jumps in. So, carefully, curiously listening.
Okay, yeah, I hope we don't really act too wimpy down here. Does anybody know?
You look just cool.
No, it's okay. Does anybody know what wimpy means? I'll give you a little hint. Did anybody watch Circus Halligalli yesterday? Raise your arms. Who watched Circus Halligalli? Do you know what wimpy is? Okay, lauchig. Okay, also.
Okay.
So we start. I start with the civic rights, the NGOs. Can you scroll down?
So this is a little bit further down. Yeah, here you are. Stop.
Okay, so we've got a little introductory text to the role of the NGOs. So, first of all, the NGOs are a very valuable tool in our society. That's our conclusion. They focus on diverse subjects to try to achieve their goals and targets. So, for example, in environmental or sportive topics, and so on. As I said, same topics like business and government. They have the same topics like business and government, but just in a different way, because they try to boost the public. So to captivate is like if you watch a movie like Batman and you're really captivated by it, you really just want to go on watching it. And that's what the NGOs try to do. And of course try to interest their supporters or representatives of the NGO. And they do this usually with more passion than the government or than other companies, because they're usually doing this voluntarily. Like if you're in the sports, if you play sports or you're in an environmental group, you do this usually voluntarily. Of course, they try to influence or guide the way of actions of the government. So if the government is on one hand and the NGOs on the other, they try to guide the government through a better way in their side. And they give a platform to solve conflicts for diverse groups, no matter if they're minority or majority. So if they're a minority, they still stand behind the minority, the NGO, or if it's a majority, they still do the same there. And the advocacy is like acting in favor of the public interests. That's the main definition, or the role the NGOs play. And the last point there is learning from experiences in other countries and organizations. So, for example, as one guy said, Germany is kind of the barrier for all the other countries. So they look up on Germany and try to do it the same way.
Or differently.
Or differently, if it's not as good, yeah, of course. And then we have the responsibility of building business innovation. One responsibility is, that's wrong, what is it? Business innovations?
It's okay.
I'll just go on.
Keep going.
Make the public aware of issues and problems, of course. To cater or support the people who are not reached by the government. So the NGOs, if somebody doesn't reach you from the government point, the NGOs try to do that. And then the last one is they're free of every personal interest, and what generally counts for the NGO is that the common good of the group and not just your personal interest.
Okay, cool.
Next.
Thank you. Next.
The business innovation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Matja. Matja, are you here? Somewhere? No. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So what is innovation? So we all are the innovation, how we live our lives with all the smartphones and the houses we live in. So without innovation, we wouldn't be where we are now. We would be. It's the difference between animals and us human beings.
Ooh. Okay, careful. Yeah.
And so it shows the importance of innovation businesses. And okay, the big challenge and the responsibility of those is to fill the gap between the scientists who start all this and the industry at the end. So to fill this gap, those skills we have to bring them together, and the result will be that the identifying of the market potential will be much easier if we bring the skills from those two groups of specialists together. And we had this great example also for a chain reaction with the Ford mass production. That it's also, if we have innovation, there will come new jobs because it starts with the mass production, and he told us 20 years later, there were lots of highways, but there are people who built these highways, and this chain reaction is very important for our society. And so many people from many different social parts earn a lot from the innovation, and also it influences how the government works when more people have jobs to pay their taxes. Okay, let's go on.
Okay, cool. Next one. Public policy, that's probably the most difficult one. This was our lecture.
Okay, so we continue with the third part of the triangle.
Yeah.
It was public policy settings. And at first, what is the role of the public policy settings? We said, like, I don't really remember his names, the man from the first.
Mr. Broster, Carsten
Okay.
Broster from
Mr.
Hamburg.
Costa, okay, he said we have 4 parts. We have the adaptation, the integration, the Latin pattern maintenance, and the goal attainment. And we said, okay, these are the, we have this role, and these are the 4 parts of it. The adaptation, we said, is the including of the reaction that we have upcoming changes in the environment, and that the policy is can react, and so we have adaptation to the problems. Then we have the integration. The integration should promote that the society sticks together, and also that everyone is included and everyone can participate in the society. And then we have the third part. It's the Latin pattern maintenance, and that says that the system can build and obtain the structures in the society and build values, also new values. And the last point is the goal attainment, and this should define the goals and the targets, and also that they stick together. The second question was, what is the responsibility of the public policy settings? And we said, okay, the main responsibility is that they take care of the common goods and of the citizens, and to make this, they have to need to discuss the problems with with the society, and so there's a transparency, and so we can have encourage public participation.
So how is this different from what a civic society is supposed to do? Hold on, keep it, don't give it away, you are still there. How is this different from what civic society is supposed to do? Keep going.
She feels a bit better right now. Maybe my team can answer the question and you may repeat it.
Now, we have written here, it is the responsibility to take care of common good of citizens. Almost the same sentence was written up when we were talking about civic society. But there's a big difference. Anybody else can answer that from let the team off the hook for a second? What's the idea? Yeah. Hold on, do we have a second mic? There's one more mic. Just let somebody else try. Yeah.
I think while the public policy settings usually have to try to balance the well-being of everyone, in the organizations usually aim at a certain group of people that they support, or a certain group or animals or anything, or the environment. So they have one goal and they do everything to achieve this goal, and maybe even try changing the laws to fit what they want to reach. And while the government has to see that everything is in balance, that everyone gets the same amount of support, and that there's an equality.
Yeah. So basically, advocacy groups have to build an argument for something many people believe in. And public policy setting is to hear these arguments and balance and find a consensus for society that everybody can live with. So it's very different, and you need both in order to do that. Now, this was a really cool thing you did, guys. Bravo. Hast du toll gemacht. Danke. Super. So, there was another team of volunteers. This is you guys. Come to the front. And if you could focus on what you did different than these. Keep rolling. You are team number 80?
HS 18.
Or somebody wants to do it on the computer? Yeah, one person should do it on the computer. It's okay if not. However you guys do it. So, do us a favor and tell us what you did differently. Okay, that looks good as well.
Yeah, so we did a little bit differently with the structure. So at first, we have the role of the building business innovation, and we thought the sentence he said was very, it had the point in it. So it was the role of building businesses innovation is making money to knowledge and knowledge to money. So they combine innovation with invention. And then we have a short, we explained what is invention. Invention is the creation of a new idea or the development of a concept. And innovation is bringing the idea practically to the market. And then we thought we could make an example, because he made another example, and we thought we could make an example that is more with our topic for the demographic change.
Yeah.
So we thought of the innovation of a hearing aid. And what are the tasks that the business innovation, the building business innovation has to do? At first they have to check the knowledge and analyze the market for it.
Yeah.
And then they have to do research to development the hearing aid further, or to development different parts of, or different aspects. For example, integrated solar systems was an idea, or better batteries. And then medical, engineer, business, and design experts, and maybe also surveys should work together to create the best possible hearing aid. And in order to do that, it is necessary to educate and train new experts and to provide the investment so that the companies can use the money to innovate this hearing aid.
Okay.
And then we said the responsibility of the building business innovation is to build large networks so that they don't only think of their own profit, but they think of the higher good, so that it's possible to work on and adopt ideas and optimize the implementation. So if many people are thinking about a problem, then there are new ideas. If just a small group of people are thinking about a problem and don't want to tell others their idea because they think, maybe they will steal the idea and they will make the big money, then it can't work. So we thought the main question is if the product has a potential to be valuable for the whole society or for a large group in society, or if it just means profit for few people.
Usually, if it's only profit for a few people, it doesn't make sense to do it in the first place. So that's one of the good things, how this balances. So for everything, Rino can talk a lot about that problem in vaccines a little bit later. Cool, very good. Very good. Any other point you want to stress? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to add some things on the civic activation. Civic society activation. A lot of things have been said, but we focused on the fact that it was said in, I think, up front in the lecture, that very often the civic society activation is a bit underestimated, but it's actually one of the most important factors or impacts on this whole triangle. We figured that this is because, we like this very much with that it stands at the core of democratic society and that it's a mirror for the diversity of society, and as thus has this large impact on the triangle because it actually reflects a large number of people in the society, because we have a lot of people organized in some way or the other. Coming to the responsibilities, we put emphasis on the fact that it is possible to build credibility through speaking on public causes. And we have the example given here of the increase of credibility that environmental groups in general experienced in Japan after the Fukushima, because of the data or because of the work that Greenpeace was doing there. The point with the advocacy in the public interest as a counterweight to private lobbying in the private interest of businesses, where we have an example right now in Germany with the TTIP, where a lot of people get activated and are thus putting a lot of impact on political decision making. And apart from that, if you can scroll up a little bit, also that the NGOs are an important part of, play an important part in providing a kind of international learning platform, because as my colleague already mentioned, it's important that we exchange ideas in large groups of people, and in a business environment very often people are very sort of private with their own ideas, because of course they want to make profit of their own ideas. They may be not so readily able or willing to share them with others. So this would also be a kind of important function or responsibility that civic society has, this international learning platform, we called it. Yeah, and the other things have been said.
Super. Thank you very much. These were indeed good points to add. Good job. Thanks. Thank you. I think we skipped the third one.
Yeah.
That has been very good. Super. Now, what are we going to do next? Will to a large degree depend on one thing you guys, what I saw, have all taken out of what has happened so far. If we talk about making this world a better place and we talk about innovation, all and everybody is constantly in full agreement. If you talk to scientists, you find out that there's a ton of wonderful things happening daily coming out of laboratories and universities. It's perfect. Unfortunately, most of this never makes it into implementation in society by means of business or anything else. So we don't have a lack of knowledge, we don't have a lack of invention, we don't have a lack of patents, we don't have a lack of protected competence and ideas that could be formed into business. What's not happening is that somebody picks it up, has the right incentives to do so, and turns it into a massively positive endeavor, company, not-for-profit, NGO, whatever. And all three of these players have to come together to bridge that gap. There's obviously an entrepreneur, there's somebody who has to give money, has to drive a team to do it. Why it doesn't happen often has to do that the public policy is not clear. So we don't know what is intended, and money is shy. It goes where there is lowest risk and where you have the biggest certainty of succeeding. And public policy is often getting short when there is no consensus in society. We have that these days around data protection, where we could heal many diseases much more efficiently and effectively if there was a consensus on what type of data, who wants to share, with whom, at what point. And it's simply not happening because there is no consensus. You will later meet an entrepreneur from Jordan who is tackling exactly that challenge and who just said, let's do a very transparent process, let's go for it, and let's see if we can do both. Build a substantive business and substantially improve the public health situation in his country, Jordan. So we will now look and meet three people who have done innovation business by themselves, with teams, in very different sub-industries, and all three of them have been very successful. All three of them have been very successful in bringing together these three systems: public policy, advocacy, and a successful business approach. And we would like you to meet these individuals and to understand what type of demographic solution they have built. So we will ask you, and we will ask each other, what is unique about these solutions? Why do they make sense, each and every one? There's a different reason for each and every entrepreneur you will meet and for each and every business. And this then will serve for you as a platform to later in the day and tomorrow develop your own ideas. So it's not that you copy any of that, you can do much better, but to see three different approaches to the very same problem that have been successful in the past. So what will happen now in module 4 will then lead to your own creation of actually one idea per person later. And then during a process tomorrow, we are elaborating together on these ideas and drill them down, so in the evening that there is probably 2 ideas left per team with 7 or 8 people behind each of these ideas. In these groups, tomorrow evening, you will go the first time in front of the jury, and this is in a small room, so everybody will get to present their ideas, and everybody will then get feedback from the pre-jury, and you will then find out on Friday morning in the real finale who has actually won the trip to Jordan and to Brussels. So this was an overview of the next 2.5 days, going from Module 5, starting up your own idea, into taking many people on board and elaborating that idea further over Thursday morning and afternoon into Thursday evening to pitch it for the first time to a jury. That's a journey we are now going to embark on. And to help you a little bit, we want to look at what 3 wonderful people did. So what we try to look at is what in science and in business is called a unique selling proposition. And this is often abbreviated USP. A unique selling proposition is a unique selling proposition. So there's a few words in it. Unique, it means it is better or different than anything else. Selling means it addresses a market need. So there is somebody who needs it. It's not something you would like to do because you have spare time and you think it's real cool, but it actually will probably sell because it probably addresses a need that somebody had that before, many people have, and not just a few. And proposition is indeed something you're offering. It is not about creating a law or anything that will be mandated, but it will be something you offer and others may choose to take it on. So that unique selling proposition, after you have heard the presentations, I'll tell you a little bit more what you should write in that. You will hear for 3 different businesses. To spell that out a little bit more clear, we will then ask you what's in it for an individual and what's in it for society. We are here consciously not writing what's in it for the customer, because in many cases around healthcare, somebody is paying who is not using it, which is one of the key problems. So we are looking at benefits to explain the USP for the individual. So if this is about a particular medication you take and it makes you healthy, this is your individual benefit. The benefit for society may be that you can take care of your family longer, you live longer, and you work longer. But it's 2 different things. And all of that is quite ethical, because not dying and living healthy is something that gives you the choice to be a part of it. So this is the frame we would like you to fill in later. So this is what you please be so kind to listen to when you hear the coming lectures. So in the next 45 minutes, you will meet 3 exceptional individuals. Rino Rapulli, I think this is fair to say, is a scientist in heart. Rino, yes? Yeah. We are always waiting that he is on the Nobel Prize list or wins something big. That may well happen. Rino is the reason why major vaccine companies sit next to his hometown, Siena, because this is where Rino likes to live, and basically with all the companies he started and worked with, he always convinced them to be there where he is. So Rino is a science entrepreneur who made a big difference in something that is wildly underestimated currently, which is prevention, and in prevention, something very effective and efficient, vaccination. So Rino will later introduce you to the value and to the ideas behind vaccination for adults as part of a demographic solution. So this is a biotech. This is a biotech proposition. There's Falk, who is a consultant, investor, entrepreneur in the healthcare field, and as such looks at many opportunities and will present to you one of the opportunities he has developed into a successful business in the area of care. So this is about human resources, it's about people, and it's about the problem that with this aging society we need more and more caretaking people in the healthcare industry, and more people go to university and else and don't want to do these jobs, but we desperately need it. So Falk has developed, among many other things he did, one business in that area he's going to talk about second. Then there is Rami. Rami is from Jordan. Jordan is as you know, very small but very beautiful Arab country that is currently geographically in a very disadvantaged position, stuck in between the war in Israel, the war in Syria, Saudi. So it's not a very good geographical situation. It's a country that's land-bound, that has no access to sea except for in Akbar a little bit, and a country that is among the poorer, directly neighboring countries to the EU. Rami has built a business where he believes it would substantially improve the public health in Jordan by making data about people's health and about the treatment histories available to all doctors in Jordan and to the patient. It is something that we dream about in Germany, and we can probably dream for the next 15 years. It will not happen because of too many interests. But here there's a small country who can take a lead, and Rami will then present to you what that means. So, 3 different industries, 3 different countries, 3 wonderful people, all friends of the university. Rino, do you want to start? The stage is yours.